Hi, my name's Kate McKeever, and I'm with the Bruce County Public Library. Welcome to today's Local Author Talk. In this series, we will chat with local authors to learn a little about them and their work. So today I'm with Sue Jaskula. Sue's career spanned many years in a mix of law firm and hospital administrative work before she jumped at the opportunity to take early retirement and pursue a career in writing, a pursuit she entered with energy and enthusiasm. Ecstatic to become a published author at the age of 60, she pinches herself every day that someone buys one of her books or drops an awesome review. She loves connecting with readers and fellow writers, and one of her favorite things is seeing posts of her books being read in faraway places. After a lifetime in Southern Ontario, Sue and her husband were thrilled to retire to Kincardine, near their adult children and grandchildren. On these shores of Lake Huron, with some of the best walking trails in the country, her imagination soars and her best stories come to life. Sue writes in the romantic suspense genre and has published 5 novels so far. Her book, Tangled Lies, was a 2023 NN Light Book Awards finalist. Welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
Hi. So let's start with a little synopsis of your latest book.
These two were both my most recent releases. I write generally contemporary suspense is 4 out of the 5 of them. This is the only historical one. Castle Gordon takes place in Kincardine. Goes back to 1945, so it's not way back historical 1800s, but they do consider it historical. So still murder mysteries, all of my books, but these are the 2 most recent. So
That's great. Thank you. All right, so we'll start with our questions.
Okay.
What words would you use to best describe yourself as an author?
I would say determined. I've been writing since way back when people used to write Christmas letters and that kind of thing. So I've always kind of had a knack for writing. I did my degree in English, and then subsequently, while I was working full time, I did a certificate in writing with McMaster University. Some of the chapters that are in a lot of my novels were homework for that certificate. That was a long time ago. And then once I retired, I really got to it and managed to get some of them published. So now I'm doing a master's online with the university in Yorkshire, England. So that's getting the next ball rolling at a way higher level than I ever thought possible. So that's really exciting. So I'm very determined to get the best out of my creativity that I can, I guess.
Yeah, that's very cool. How would you describe your style as an author?
Inconsistent.
Okay.
I try and get there every day. Certainly now that I've started the regular program of the school with lectures and webinars and so on, so it really makes me stick to it a little bit more. But you know, when you've got kids and grandkids, and surprisingly retirement is ridiculously busy, but I try and get to the computer every day and get some words down on paper. The characters tend to talk to me in my head, and I just have to get their story out when it's going. So sometimes I'm still typing away at 2 o'clock in the morning, and my husband comes and says, "What the heck are you doing?" But that's okay. I can sleep in. So it goes when it goes. Yep.
Where do you draw your ideas and inspiration?
Like I say, the characters just kind of come into my head once I start with a little bit of an inspiration just from some random bunch of people I saw on the beach or something. It rolls with it once it gets a little bit of stuff going. It does its own thing, but just generally day-to-day experience. And I was just talking to someone else downstairs who works when they, started writing when they retired, and saying how much easier it is once you have some life experience and you've been a lot of places, and you can write about what you've seen and what you've heard and different experiences, just day-to-day kind of life. But more so places that you've been, I think is a better way to. If I tried to write about New York City or something, I think people would realize I was just winging it. So, yeah,
Very
for
good.
sure.
Yeah. What are your best tips for when you are stuck on a passage, and how do you work through it?
I generally walk away. I just take the dog for a walk, and I, think, and sometimes I just stop thinking about writing and just go and do groceries and watch some inane reality show or something. And then something will come to me. Sometimes days, sometimes weeks. And even when I'm writing, if I think that I've got it as good as it can get, I often walk away and come back to it a couple of days later because things look different when you haven't looked at it 300 times already, and it just makes it more clear, and it clearing your head and walking away for a bit tends to bring it back again. So
Very
yeah,
good.
for sure.
That's been a very interesting answers for that question.
So far, I haven't not had something come to me eventually. So I think that knowing that it'll come when it's ready, I can walk away and know that even if it's weeks or months, even sometimes it'll come eventually. It'll come
Very
back.
good.
Yeah,
not
for
having
sure.
that pressure on yourself.
Absolutely.
Almost.
Yeah.
What's your favorite literary character or book?
I'm a bit of a mood reader, so I pick up everything from thrillers to romance and everything in between. I do like to read Canadian authors. I love Susanna Kearsley's settings, and there's a gentleman in Saskatchewan, Anthony Banduka. He's in Crime Writers Canada with me. He was one of the winners of the Crime Writers Canada Award this year, and I loved his book. Going to Beautiful was probably my favorite that I've read in the last few months. Diverse characters and settings that really stick with me months later, kind of thing, is what I like to read. But generally thrillers and mysteries, just because it helps to lend to the story ideas and that kind of thing.
I'm also a mood reader.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's hard. That's a hard question
That's
to
a tough
answer
question.
for me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could say Jane Austen at one point, but you know, that's going way back to it depends on the day. For sure.
Very good. Well, thank you so much
Thank you
for sharing your process and your books with us and your time.
Thank you for having me.
If you're looking for a good suspense novel with a little romance sprinkled in, please consider one of Sue's books. Her books are found in the library and for sale on Amazon and Indigo, and carried as well at local bookstores. Sue can be reached through her website and on her Facebook page or Instagram. And we'll add all of that information to the video description below. And thanks again, Sue.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.